Hey guys, I'm back again. So, this is going to be the last part of what we started a long time ago. So, let me just show you. So, this is the Akita and Firebase application. So, everything is already done, it's working. Okay, so you can see here below the date, and you can see that it's been like 2 weeks or so. But we're just going to build this. This is Adobe XD. I didn't do much with this, just these simple, shapes that are grouped. Just that. You just need to export them, and that's all. So I'm just going to close this because it gets in the way. And also, where I got that, I can't remember where I got this. How you can see this image, but here on isoflat or isoflat, you can see they have a ton of isometrics, so you can just choose another one and just open that with Adobe in Illustrator and just export that and use it just like usual. So let me just close that, and this is application. Okay, so let's just finish that. I'm not going to use this, I'm going to use what I have on my other project. Okay, so let me just import inside the assets the two things that I exported before. So let me just open this one. It's going to open on the new edge. So let's see that. And okay, I didn't open my project, so let's wait for this one. You can see that this is just a mobile device, and that's all. And the other one is just the background, which is okay, this part. The other part, I'm just going to match the color of the background of the HTML, and that is the only thing that we're going to do. So let's close that. Now I didn't open this, so let's open. So actually go here and open this with code, so we can start with the styles. So let me just go and right away to the styles, and I'm just going to copy most of these things. So let me just, you can see we have Docker now. This is too big, right? I think this is how, I haven't touched VS Code in a while, like 2 weeks or a week, I don't know. I've been focusing on other things. So let's just go to styles, style.css, and we have some things because we needed those in order to see the images. But now I'm going to import the first four things. So let me just go there and paste them. So we have the source sans, which is the font. Everything is going to be padding margin and padding 0 and margin 0. The HTML is the same color that we have, okay, in the image that I just added, and the background is going to be set to that assets mask group 1, which is the vector. And okay, let me just go through this, the section, margin, the posts, so we can see those. The post is the container, and the post is the post itself. The cover, okay, is the div that is going to display the image, and we have these two more. So let's save this, and you can see that now it looks different, right? It looks better. So let me just close that. And since we had that color, now it looks better. It also adds some padding, I think I can remember, to the bottom. So we are going to focus, margin top to the div, and some again margin top, margin 20, all around, and that's it. So let's continue with this. I already have, let me just check. So I don't have the container. Okay, so the container is going to be a 70% margin 0 auto to be centered. And let's go straight to navigation and copy these four styles. Yep, for the navigation. Okay, so we have the nav UL, the nav UL list, and the nav UL first of type A, which is kind of the logo. So let's save this and let's take a look. As you can see, this looks different. Okay, so we still need to add a few more things. So I'm going to do this pretty fast because, well, it's 1:30 a.m. and also, unless you are pretty interested in this, you are just going to need how to, you will only need to see how it's done and you will be able to do it by yourselves. So let me just grab these headers. Okay, so we have the header div, and the header div h1. And also, I'm going to show you the problem that I said before. You can see this looks different. Okay, it looks like this because we will add later the media query. So, and as I said, I'm going to show you later what is the problem with the background, that you might be interested in that. But first, let's just set everything, the styles, and just take a look at how they look. You can see the button, and yeah, it's mostly the header what is changing. Now I'm going to need the form, which is up here. Okay, so let me just grab all these and I'm going to paste this in the bottom because that should be in the bottom. Sorry if I'm speaking too low. You can just up the volume. So the form everything, I mean everything inside the form is going to be displayed block with a width of 100% and a padding 10 pixels on top and on the bottom, and the rest, the edit, delete, and cancel. And let's just save these ones. And let me just move to the last one, which is positive A. Okay, so I need the current post. Let's copy all this, and I'm going to show you in a second. Of course, you will get the files. Sorry, I didn't update those before, but we still need to finish a few things. That's why the files weren't there, the repo. Okay, so if we go, we have this, but you can see we have this image still, and although it doesn't look bad, let's go to create a new post. Well, you could argue that it looks kind of good. Okay, but this is the problem. It's going to have a hard edge here because this is the header and this is the body, kinda the main. Well, not the main, but the end of the HTML, the body. Okay, so even if we stretch that, this image is going to look kind of odd. So that's why I decided just to get rid of this when we are on a different page that is not the home page. So we will do that in a second. Let me just grab the loading. I think okay. Okay, this is kinda the end. So let me copy that and let me paste it here, which is the loading. Okay, I showed you before on other projects where you can get all these LDS, these spinners. Okay, you can search for them with CSS spinners and you will get the HTML and CSS that you need to place. And the last things are the media queries, which are not that big, only a few things, okay, just to make them look kind of nice. Okay, you can see the 1400 pixels there, and the smaller, which is a maximum width of 900 pixels. Let's save that and let's go back. And you can see now, because we have the media query, the first part is for a 1080, okay, resolutions, and the rest is below that. So the media queries are taking care of whatever is below this size. Okay, that wasn't it. So we have that. Okay, so now the only problem is this, because as I said, it's going to look odd with this thing. So it's just better to get rid of that. And remember that we're using Angular 9, and I could run with, well, I could face some problems with this, but this should all go well. But let's see. So the first thing is go to app component, that I was going to say HTML, but no, app component.ts, and we need to do some things. So just give me a second, just to show you that this is kind of responsive. Okay, well, of course, I forgot to add that, but this is just the wrap, how the wrap is looking. But yeah, okay, well, you will need to fix that, so I'm not going to focus on that. So, okay, this is because I needed to change a few things there. I forgot that they give you only 30 days before it expires, kinda, if you only have this allow read write. So I had to change those back and then change them again. So I only use this just to finish this. That's why I'm recording now. So for the database not to expire. And okay, let's just keep moving. So what we need to do is to grab the import of the router from Angular router. We need to set a new constructor here inside this class. Okay, remember that this is still a class and we can add a constructor. So it's going to instantiate the router. Now I'm going to set this add item, but you can call it however you want. This is missing from, let me just close all this, okay, since we don't need those. And I need the other one, which is app the component.html. Remember that we removed this because it was giving us an error, just because we didn't have the add item, a thing that actually worked with Angular 8, but with Angular 9 the rules are more strict, so we need to define everything. That's why we had that error. So now we define this add item as a boolean, and the default value is going to be true. Okay, now let me just type this. Well, I already did this one on another project, so I'm not going to type that. Let me just paste this. Okay, it was the wrong thing, but it indented this pretty nice. So let me just make this bigger so you can see. We have this check URL, which is going to check if we are on the add post. If not, we're going to remove, if we are in the add post, we're going to remove the create item. So let me just, the hell is this? Okay, so let me just go back and just grab the ngIf. I don't know why I have an S there, but this is going to go here. And let's save that and remove this and remove the space. So, okay, as I said, if we are in the add post route, then we're going to remove the add item, setting it to false, so it just removes this list item. And if not, then we want to display that. Okay, in order for this to work, we will need to add the ng on init. Let's paste this and this should actually work. Let's see. Okay, so we are, and you can see that it just removes the create new item or new post or whatever when we are on a different page that is not the add post. Okay, you can see, and when we click this, it just removes that because we are in this route. Okay, so that's it. Let me just close this one. Now, the other thing is that we will need to set something, because let me just explain this again. I'm using X here, but this could also just go like that, and you can see that it shows for less than a second and then is removed. But well, you will need to see, in case you want to follow this on a more structured manner, you will need to see how to remove that or just structure your projects in a better way. So okay, we have that, and the next function is going to check for kind of the same thing, that if we are not in the main page, then we are going to set all the background to be this color. Okay, because as I said, this looks odd. So yeah, this also could be fixed if you just add a better ending to this. Okay, to the image, so it kind of blends together with this hard edge. But yeah, whatever, I'm not a graphic designer, so we will fix this with code. So we're going to say, okay, let me just import here, although I have only need, well, it's not needed in this case. It kinda grabs it by default, but we will need to say after content checked, and we will need to add implements after content checked. So it's going to tell us, hey dude, you need to actually use that. So we need to say ng after content check, set it as a function, and this is going to return also void. Okay, yep, it's like that, and just like this. So what is ng after content check going to do? So it's going to check every time it checks for the content to be changed. Okay, it's going to constantly check what is going on, and then we will need that in order to check if we are on the correct page. Okay, so this is kind of actually, and this is not going to work with ng after content init. Okay, because it only checks the first set, while ng after content check checks every time. Okay, so this is only for small implementations. If you try to set calculations here that are kind of hard, complex, then your application is going to slow down a ton. So just be aware that this is only for small check-ins, like the thing that we're going to do. So what we need to do, I'm going to use a regular JavaScript with this. So I'm going to say, and I think it's better for me to just paste it. So we're going to say body L, that is going to be the body. So we're going to say document.query selector body. We can grab this using the renderer 2, the renderer 2, instead of source element, but in this case we're just going to grab it with plain JavaScript using query selector, which is also a valid option. So renderer 2, you will use it if you want to change, to access the DOM and change the DOM so it re-renders the correct way. instead of grabbing the DOM like this, but in this case we only are going to grab it using the query selector. So let me just type this one. So if, so you can follow this better, this that router that URL. So we're going to use the same that we did before. You can just set it in another function, but we're going to check for index of at post. Okay, or this that as you can see, let me just make this bigger. You can see we have this sign, so we're checking the negative way. This that router that URL that index of and post. So we only have kinda 2 pages, right? We have the main, we have the check post, and we have the create post. We have 3 in total, but kinda one is the default. Okay, so let's go back. That's what we're checking. If we are not in the add post and we are not in the post itself, then we are going to say body L that style. You can see we can access it without any problem. The background, and we're going to set the background to the to what we have in the CSS for the color. So we're going to say this. Okay, as I said, you can make this better or even just avoid this by using a simpler layout and graphics. And this is something that happens with SPAs that I saw an article that some front-end developers were a little thrown off because of some things like this, and that's why I decided to do it, because in order to be you can see that this is working actually, but some people just don't know how to deal with that, and you can see that everything went blue right away, and when we came back to the main page everything is still blue. We don't see the graphic, but we will fix that. And as I said, some problems like this happen with SPAs because of how the way SPAs work. SPAs weren't didn't have the the web design implemented into it, so it was more about functionality. It is still more about functionality, about making things look faster and working faster also, but the web design wasn't something important there. But as programmers we can still find a way of how to sort those problems out. And as I said, this is something that we are doing, and we are doing only for this project because this is an image that I don't know, I just wanted to show this, I guess. So let's save this and let me just make this bigger so you can see better. So what is going on, we're going to grab the body and check if we are on the add post or on the post, and changing the background to be this color, the color blue that we have, so everything looks flat. And else, I mean, if we are on the main page, then everything is going to look just the way it were. So let me just save this and check it out. Okay, so we have this. Let's say create a new post, we go back and we see this, and if we go back, okay, we can see that the graphic is still there. And let me just show you a little thing because this is important. Okay, so let's just do this. Console, no, console reporter, no, I don't want that. Console.log data. Okay, and you can see it kind of flickers. F12 to open that, and let me just come back. Okay, we received that. I will see if I can fix that. Maybe it's just, I think it's just the wrap. I will do that. Just give me a second. So create new post, and this should even, or well, in fact, I think they changed how the events, or these life cycle events work, because it's only checking for, okay, yeah, that is what I wanted to see. This is after content checked. So every time we change something, it's going to check for the background, or for the URL in this case, to be what we want. So every time we do something, you can see that this number is changing. So as I said, for small calculations, it's fine to do it, because we can go back and everything is working fine. Okay, we can go without any problem, edit post, and just change it, and you can see that it's going to change, but it's because we need kinda a secure way, or something that is constantly checking for the background. Could be an overkill, of course, but um, this is something that could help you if you need something that is constantly checking. It could even work with after content in it, but you can test that on your own. I just wanted to show you this. But yeah, picture that you are changing something. Okay, just let me move to create a new post, and every time we type something, it's going to check, and you can see, let me just clear this, and you can see that everything is changing. Can I make this bigger? Okay. So every time I do something, or the application registers a change, then this event is going to trigger. So if you are calculating prices, credit card numbers, payment, or something like that in the background, it's going to take a ton of processing resources. Okay, so your application is going to slow down a ton. Around 70-80% is going to be slowed down. Okay, so this is only for some small changes, some small things that are not pretty complex calculations. Okay, so let me just make that. I think that was how. Okay, I think that is. So as I said, that is the only thing, and let me just try to fix that. It's just something that I should do with, which is the posts. I think I forgot to add that. Let me just grab the posts. Let me just scroll down, and I could make this wrong, of course, but can I say, not even the flex wrap should work without me changing this. So maybe this is a minimum width. Let's say, let's change this, or let's add minimum width. 500 pixels maybe, or it was, well, let's say for the, okay, and no, it's not working, so I need to set actually like 400 pixels maybe for this to work. Okay, as you can see, this works. So it's going to have a minimum width of 400 pixels, and set the margin to 0 auto, or maybe we could center that using the content align, but let's just leave it like this. And if we go Okay, it's going to keep the 400 pixels. That's why we have this. So yeah, let's add this. Maybe we just copy this and let's paste it. Of course, all this is shouldn't be here except for the. So let's say minimum width 300 and let's say 300. Also, let's see how that looks. Okay, it looks kind of better, right? But we have the, so this should be also 500 pixels because we need to display this. Okay, I made something weird with that, and we can actually grab the cover. So let me just give me just a second to grab the cover and just make this. Of course, you can clean all this, and this is just I'm just showing you how you can do this. So let's just say 300%. Okay, it's way bigger. 130 maybe. Okay, you can see that works. Okay, and if I go all the way, okay, it looks fine. So yeah, that's all. And sorry about making these videos kind of too late. Well, not in terms of my English is kind of bad these days, so I haven't even practiced my English. So about the span of time on which every video is being recorded, but well, I'm not feeling, the joy of recording. I don't know why. I'm just not feeling it. So that's why I decided to take a little break and I'm exploring some other things. So, as I said, I might take a few weeks off, a part of what I have taken from YouTube, actually. And I don't know. I have a few projects with Next.js and Vue.js, and also we could see Docker and we can see a Golang, which I think is going to be a nice change because it's some, something basic. I'm still learning that, so we will have something basic there. But yeah, if you don't see content in the channel, it doesn't mean that the channel is going to be, it's just that I'm just going to take a little break and start later, fresher, so I can just bring you more and more content. So that that is all, guys, and see you in the next one.